All right, here we go. My name is Lisa. I'm with REC4. This is my second session of the TechBits, promoted and sponsored by REC9 on behalf of the Technology Initiative by the New Mexico Public Ed Department. So I've got the recording going and I will move forward. So happy Halloween to everybody on this day. You can see my little picture. This is the extent to my dressing up. But we will do a Halloween type themed session today on mail merging using a database. As you can see from the slides, most people, I think of most of us in the schools probably use Excel and if they're familiar with anything as far as a database goes, they'd probably be familiar with Excel. I use it very, very basic skill wise, but that's all you really need actually. But you do need a database if you're going to mail merge. The purpose of mail merging is so that you could send something to everyone on a database on a list. So you're not mentioning things or writing names in individually. So for my purposes, if you're on, please type your name and your district or group in the chat box for myself, for my own data. Hopefully you're going to have fun at these sessions. As I started preparing for my own, I hope you'll spread the word about these sessions. I think they are just priceless. And there's many people out there who are feeling disgruntled about having to learn, quote, new skills, but it could be really fun once you take the apprehension and the anxiety away. So again, happy Halloween to everyone. I'm going to give you a couple of Halloween comics here. As I think about moving forward, we're going to work on mail merging from a database to a certificate, which I'm sure teachers have lots of reasons to create certificates and awards to give students, any type of flyer, a newsletter, labels, name badges, etc. So I'll show you samples of how you might use those. Here's another Halloween little comic for you that I thought was kind of cute. So you'll see this when you get the PowerPoint. So here we go. Once I started talking about these sessions and people using the session, excuse me, you know, one connection leads to another connection in your brain. One connection leads to another connection. And it can really, I met my niche when I started working for the REC about 22 years ago in doing these types of things, desktop publishing, using our computers. So hopefully, again, you're going to have fun. And let's proceed. So when we mail merge, I will create a Word document, usually, or a publisher document. Mail merging allows for personalizing and sending the same item to lots of people. So no more entering names by hand. I know people that didn't want to learn how to use a database or how to use Excel, I think because they were afraid or they thought it was going to take a long time. And we're actually entering names into a certificate by hand. So hopefully this will show you how simple it is to link whatever project you're working on with a database and to be able to check that before you print it. And this presentation will show you all of that. So this is just a quick little snippet of the steps. So when we're in a Word document or a publisher document, but in a Word document, you'll go to the Mailings tab, click on your label or your list that you're going to select from. You'll have an already existing database that you selected. So you'll select the database, locate where it says, select it, back to the document. You'll start the wizard, the mail merging wizard, and it'll show up a panel on the right side. You go step by step, and it's very, very simple once you know some basic things. Same thing with publisher. Everything that I've ever developed as a teacher, as a trainer, for my districts, for my own use, for teaching materials, I always create things in Publisher. You can insert pictures and things into a Word document, but a word processing program and a picture files don't necessarily play well together. So even when I do a newsletter, in fact, I'm working on my own personal Christmas letter, holiday letter, and I still do it in Publisher and insert pictures and then insert the text boxes for whatever I want to say in that letter. So here, I'll show you. We'll move forward. So for this purpose, like I said, you need to have a database or there's no purpose for mail merging. So I created a simple database with fictitious favorite people of mine, favorite characters of mine, etc. So anyway, I just went into Excel, opened a blank document, named each column, very simple, first and last, and then just entered a bunch of names like you might do for your own students. This is exactly what you could do for your own students. You could also add columns to your database with their addresses, their parents' names, maybe their favorite colors, information that you have about them that you could use throughout the year with teaching materials. So again, any database, there's Excel, there's Access, CVS. I know April asked me after my first session, has to send her the attendance list in a CVS file. I wasn't familiar with using those, so I was able to send her just Excel, and she was able to utilize it for her purposes with the grant. So as you can see here, I created a Halloween themed certificate. Again, in Publisher, just went and selected a certificate. I've been doing them for years, so I don't even need to think about it. And usually what I do is, years ago, I started creating certificates and things like this. And when I have ones that I really like, I just save them into a folder of certificates. And then I don't have to start from scratch ever again, because I can take the samples that I have and change the borders, change the font, change the phrasing, change pictures, add whatever you want, but at least the structure of the project is already created. So here we go. So you could see I have this certificate that says you're all spooktacular, and show this certificate for a cookie. So I might have some Halloween cookies or muffins or a treat. You could say, show this certificate to your teacher for a treat. It might be a certificate because your kids have been doing so, but whatever you want in it. But you can see I've circled here the field that I want to have a real name, and also in the text of my message, I have a field there where I'm going to add a name, where I want to personalize this document in 2 different locations. So I'm going to show you how we're going to go about doing that. So here we go. So I have the document. You can see this is my screen, my computer screen. And with this screen, you can see the tabs. So what I would do is I will go to the Mail Merge tab. You can see that at the top. I have to move my little toolbar. Okay, so the Mailings tab. So you're going to click the Mailings tab up on your toolbar. When you click the Mailings tab, these things drop down. So you'll see a Mail Merge, and you're going to click Mail Merge. When you click Mail Merge, you'll get another drop down right here that says Mail Merge and Step-by-Step Wizard. Go to the Step-by-Step Wizard. When you click Step-by-Step Wizard, this is what you see on the right side of your screen. So everything you saw before was at the left side. When you click the wizard, you see the Mail Merge Wizard just dropped in front of you on the right side. So you can see my document there on the left, whatever it is you created. And now we're going to see the wizard. You can see the default radio button there already shows that we have that I'm going to use an existing list that I've already created. Now you could use your contact list in your Outlook contacts. You could type a new list where that third radio button will take you to a database screen table, if you will, and it'll allow you to take names, type names on the prompt, on the fly, like right now. But I'd rather have my database ahead of me, because then I know that everything's spelled right and capitalized right. And I think any teacher that's on or will watch this will know that you got to recheck it, and I'll explain to you why when we get further. So anyway, that's the default radio button that I want, because I'm going to use an existing list. So I click that. I come down to create or connect to that list. And when I do that, it takes me to this window where I can go search in my computer and find out, and go find that database that I have in my folder. So you can see right here, I don't have to use that little bar and scroll up and down to my desktop or to my document file or another file, because I've been working in this folder preparing for this presentation. So I'm just going to double click on that folder, And that's gonna open my folder and show me any database that is in the folder, because we have to connect, again, we have to connect to a data source. You can see at the window at the bottom, right next to the file name that I haven't selected yet, but it has to be a data source. And so there's abbreviations or extensions there that I don't even know what those are, because I only know, most of us only know a program to the extent that we use it, which is fine, because at least it works for me. So you can see I'm in my folder, my mail merging folder. I've got 2 Excel spreadsheets here. I have one that I'm using as a sample for, say, my letter list, and then I have a sample for certificate. So I'm going to double click on the certificate list, or I'm going to, highlight that list and then click OK. And then it's going to open up that database. And if you're somewhat familiar with Excel, you can add worksheets. So this database, I just opened a clean Excel file. I didn't add a bunch of different worksheets, and those worksheets you can add, that they would be at the bottom of your screen. So this is a spreadsheet and I only have one worksheet. So I'm going to select the worksheet that I want. I'm going to click OK, and then it's going to show me that list. There's my list. So I have my database list in front of me. So you can see right here, it shows me I've got Bart Simpson, Betty Boot, Wonder Woman, Judy Jetson. And so, yes, I know that's the right database. Those are my people on my list, or my students, if you will, if you were going to do this yourself. But I myself don't like to do things with names that aren't alphabetized. So I'm going to click that little black arrow next to the last name, or whatever your field is named. My field, or that column, is I named it last for last name. So this is how you would alphabetize that file. You would click that little tiny black triangle that points down. When you do that, as you can see from this screenshot, it drops down how you can sort your names. I always sort ascending. You might want to do it from Z to A, but I like to do it from A to Z. So I just double click on sort ascending, and then that takes care of it for me. And as you can see now, it shows me that I've corrected my database. I have my cert list. That's the Excel file that I want for this project. And as you can see at the bottom, I'm going to go ahead, because I'm still in the wizard, remember. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to prepare my document, or my project. So here I go. It's not going forward. Here we go. So once I did prepare project, now it shows you you're ready to insert the fields from the database you chose into your project. So this is how we do that. Now, we're in the wizard, so it's just clicks away. So you can see I just widened the screen so you could see. I highlighted the field in my certificate where I want the names to show up. And I'll do the same thing where I showed you I had the word first, right over here, if you can see my cursor, right where it says first. So I'm going to highlight both, one field at a time and select what I want. So in this field, I want to put the student's first and last name. So I'm going to select first and last. Wait a minute, let me go back, because I wanted to show you that. I think I'm covering up my window here. So yes, so you can see I highlighted the name. I took my cursor over to, and I clicked on the word first, put a space between the first and last name, and then I clicked the word last. And then when I do that, as you saw there for a second, let's move forward. Then you can see the names, the way that my database shows them with the column names, it is now inserted into my project. So now you just move forward in the wizard. Now I want to merge the projects. I want to merge this project with the first and last name of the people in that database. So you just click next, and then you'll get this window in the mail merge wizard. I would never, because I've done this before, don't print your project if it's more than one thing, because you'll still waste paper. You want to preview your project to make sure that the names, and I've done events with 200 people in them before, and it isn't until I'm printing a name badge that I see that I have a lowercase letter for the last name, and I didn't realize it the million times I was looking at the database. So looking at it, the names in the project itself will really help you. And I'll give you another example why that's a good idea. So you'll print preview, select that little blue print preview link. And when you do that, it takes you to your print page. Everyone has seen this when you're printing a Word document or printing a publisher document or printing anything. So you can select your printer, whether it's color, black and white, the size of your paper, etc. Same thing with if you're printing a handout from PowerPoint. So you can see, it shows me my project. It shows me where the names are inserted where I want. And you can see with this arrow here, it's showing that I have 48 names in that database. And so I always do this. I don't care how many I have. I will take this, it only takes a minute, but I will always click through each and every single name to make sure that it looks the way it's supposed to look, has the appropriate space, etc. And when I was creating this publisher certificate, and I got to this point, you guys, it said 1 of 96. And I thought, but I don't have 96 names. And it took me a minute. As you can see, I'm looking, I was thinking. And so when I went back to my publisher file, that's when I realized I was using a second page in the publisher file to play with my print screens and my snippet files, my picture files, to resize them and to crop them and to frame them before I entered them into my PowerPoint presentation. So I had to delete, once I deleted that second page in this publisher file for the certificate, then it fixed it and it corrected when I showed it. Now it says 48. So in my thought process, my planning process, just like yours, you'll find mistakes. And if you don't know already, we learn more from mistakes than we learn from doing things perfectly. So that's going to show me I've got 48. I'm going to go through every single name to make sure it looks the way it should. And then when I'm ready, I can print. And it's going to print those 48 documents for you. And then you can use them whichever way you want. Here is a sample of a sample newsletter I did for let's say you were having a Halloween celebration at school. And you wanted to send the newsletter home with your parents just to letting them know what's happening. So you would, this was a publisher document as well. I just went online and I looked for images of Halloween borders. And so I found one that looked cool, had a lot of white space in it. And as you can see, the dotted line around the text box, I just inserted a text box there and then formatted the different fonts with, you know, a Halloween looking font selection, spiders for bullets, etc. But you can see it would be really nice if you emailed or sent this out with your students and it actually had their family name in the newsletter. You know, ghoulish greetings, Segura family. Please remember that you're cordially invited to the annual homie Halloween haunting or whatever. So this is great that you could use, and you're going to use the exact same process of mail merging when you're doing this type of letter. Here's a letter as I was continuing to develop the presentation. If you wanted to write a newsletter, this is one that I did way back in 2002 when I was conducting a child find screening event for about 3 of my districts. So I was asking for donations from local vendors. So I did a form letter on our letterhead, wrote the letter, and then I created a database of all the agencies that I wanted to provide the letter, and then I printed them out and then hand carried them to the various stores so that they could have this for their tax purposes when they gave us their donation. So again, this could be a newsletter, any letter you wanted to write, a holiday letter, you could mail merge. These are my holiday letter labels that I put on the envelopes when I actually mail out our holiday letter, our family holiday letter. Same exact process. You go in, this was publisher as well, and create a label. You can do it in Word as well. I like publisher better actually, unless I'm doing the same name, the same like address labels for myself, and I'll show you in a second. But the exact same process, you create your database with addresses. Those are what my columns were called. And you go through the same process, inserting those fields, and then preview your print. You select the size of label. This happens to be the one that's to have 30 labels per page. It's actually the Avery 5160. for these size of labels. And they're also the same size of return address labels. So that's how you do that. So you can see what that screen looks like. And the only thing that's different is when you're creating what you want, so that to make sure that you're getting individual names on each label, you would select where it says multiple pages per sheet. And that way you're going to have all the different labels there. On the other hand, if like this label I use for my return envelopes, my return bills, anything I have a return label, and you would select multiple copies. So I'm going to go back again. So for multiple different labels, you're going to choose multiple pages per sheet. And then when you want the same label for the whole page, it's multiple copies of the same thing per sheet. Very easy. I just got done with the 2022 Assistive Technology Conference that New Mexico Technology Assistance Program conducts through the Governor's Commission on Disability every year. We had it in September. It was the first face-to-face in a couple of years, and I do all the registrations and the badges and name tags and whatnot. So I did this, the exact same process. I just selected the Avery number of badges. I think these badges were something like 3 inches by 4 inches, but the exact same process. And I inserted picture files, text fields, and everything we needed for that particular event. I wanted different names, so you can see it was multiple pages per sheet to print out the labels. And that's how I printed out the labels and go into those little plastic badges. So that's how you do labels and badges. So please take time to play on your devices if you don't already. I think people that are afraid of it or are apprehensive still are because you're afraid you're going to break something, or that you're an old dog and can't be taught new tricks, but that's just not true. And all of you will be better for it. It gives you a new lease on teaching. And so I think I heard someone come in. If there aren't any questions, I will see everybody at my next session. So I hope everybody has happy hauntings, my homies here in New Mexico. So I hope you have a great day and a great Halloween. Here's my contact information. You will find it once it gets posted on the REC9 webpage. I'm going to stop sharing. Like I told you at the beginning, this is the extent of my dressing up for Halloween. I will be sending April the PowerPoint handout, as well as the recording for the presentation. And you can find those all on the REC9 website. And I'm going to stop the recording now.